This is absolutely unbelievable. The second car in 2 weeks going to the salvage yard. It's in good shape and it's the same customer. Let's get started. A lot of videos out on YouTube right now have clickbait and have things in the splash screen that are totally misleading. Obviously, we don't do that here on the Car Wizard channel. What you saw on the splash screen is absolutely true. That is the destination of this car, at least what the customer wants. This is a 2012 Audi Q5 with only 120,000 miles. It was brought in, it was running rough, it was low on power. The customer said, it's been a good car, been a great car. She's brought it here, we've serviced it and taken care of it. We've done decarbon procedures and all different things on it. And it has been a great car. But not too long ago, she said, should I sell this while it's nice? And we said, yes, you should. Any Audi, Mercedes, Porsche, anything with over 100,000 miles is going to turn into a money pit really fast. She's a little bit older lady. She said, you know, this might be a car that lasts me for quite a while longer. I think I'll just hold on to it. And we said, well, it's kind of your gamble. It's your car. And it did not pay off. The gamble did not pay off at all. You guys recently saw a video, a splash screen on it also says to the junkyard or to the salvage yard. It is a 2016 Hyundai Sonata, which had the 2.4 liter, I believe it was a 2.4. The engine was shelled out, it had been ran out of oil, it was ruined. Those engines are known to be bad anyways. A lot of people in the comment section said we should rebuild it. I mentioned in that video, if you want to go watch it, the link's in the description, you can go check it out. 3 engine builders and the dealer said, we don't touch those engines and neither should you. So you're asking, what does that have to do with this Audi? They're not even the same car, the same brand? It's the same customer. The Hyundai was the granddaughter's car. It shelled out, it ran out of oil, bad things happened. It did go to the junkyard. Right now, as we speak, that 2016 Hyundai is sitting in the salvage yard. It's been cashed in. We gave the money to the customer. All the proceeds went to her. Not even a week and a half later, she's driving her car, and it starts losing power, misfiring, running really rough, check engine light. She brought it in thinking maybe it's a routine checkup. This is nuts, guys. Disaster struck again. We contacted the customer. I'll tell you the whole story here in a minute, but it's insane. Let's go ahead and take a look around this thing, check out the interior. Then we'll dive into what we found under the hood. So here's the front of this Q5, and cosmetically, it's actually in very good shape. It has some dust and dirt on it. It's been driven, obviously. But it's not dinged up, it's not rusted out, not caved in, anything bad like that. The wheels look really nice, they look almost new. Nice shiny black paint. And here in the back, it's also in good shape. You can see it denotes the Q5, it's a 2.0T, which is a problematic engine for Volkswagen and Audi. It's not a good engine. Go around to the other side. You guys are starting to see, this thing's nice. You just can't imagine. It's going to the junkyard. It's absolutely insane. Let's go ahead and hop into the interior and let Mrs. Wizard show you guys it's equally nice on the inside.
Okay, ladies and gents, there it is. 117,200 miles. Normal gauge cluster there, pretty standard. As we move up, you'll see that dash looks really good. No marks, not even really dust up there. It's in really good shape. As we move down, you'll see we have a nice infotainment system there. Nice vents as well. Have some really nice dual climate control and dual climate creature comforts there as well. Move down, simple gear selector and more controls of the car. An interesting spot for that start stop. A lot of times they're hidden on the left or the right, but nope, right there in the center console. As we move to our seats, nice adjustable headrest, got a simple gray leather, nice, pretty comfortable. Not a lot of bolster, but you don't need a whole lot when you're just driving down the road in your nice little SUV. As we move to our door cards, you'll see there's a little bit of wood accent there, as there is also over there on the glove box, but again, looking really good. Nothing's broken, nothing's chipped, everything looks in great shape. I mean, I've seen a lot of cars and a lot of times there can be a layer of grime. As we have the back seat, again, nothing As he said, she is an older lady, and so she didn't have little kids kicking the back of the seats, dropping Cheerios and whatnot back there. So again, I don't see any popsicle sticks. As we move up, the only thing, and this is the only thing, it's sagging. That is it. And it's hard to tell on camera, but that is the only thing. The little fabric canopy is sagging. So that is it. Everything else, even here, we've got the light color where our garage doors and light controls are. Nothing. No marks, anything. As we end up at our steering wheel, like we always do, just some simple controls there. Nothing crazy, nothing going on. They're just simple controls. Got a nice airbag underneath that Audi symbol. So this is sad. Everything here is so, so nice. It just sucks for this customer to have to send it to the junkyard.
So everything looks so nice on this car, but the reason why it's in such despair is under the hood. Let's go ahead and get it open. Here is our 2-liter Audi turbo 4-cylinder. They are not good engines. They were never really that good of an engine. And it's really, really stinks for this customer. I'll show you guys what we found, and then I'll talk you through everything we went through to get to that point. But what happened is the valves on this car are just shot. They're actually chunks of the valves missing. So let me get my borescope and I'll show you guys what we found. So I've got the camera in the hole and we can see this valve, I believe is the intake valve. It could be the exhaust valve, I don't know exactly, but you can see there's an entire chunk missing out of it. It's completely fractured. The whole, almost half of it has fallen off into the engine. I wouldn't run a shop without these borescope cameras. They bring answers to problems very, very fast. They are imperative to have in a shop today. There's one on our Amazon affiliates link in the description below if you want to purchase one of these. It's very, very useful. So you see there's coils and plugs here. Those are some attempts that we made when we initially had the problem. It had some misfires. It showed 1, 2, and sometimes 3 misfire, different issues going on. We tried some plugs, we tried the coils, until it just, something wasn't adding up, something wasn't right, and we dug a little deeper. Let me tell you guys the whole story. So when this car came in here, like I said, it had the misfires going on, it was running rough, and it would kind of run smooth. Magic Mike actually looked it over. He got the scan tool hooked up and we could see with the misfire monitor there was misfires happening, especially under slight load. It would get even worse. We pulled a couple of coils and moved them around, and the misfires on a couple of cylinders did move to a different cylinder. So it's like, well, I know the Volkswagen coils are faulty. They don't last very long, especially on the Audi S4s, the S6s. All these different Audi cars use this style of a coil. And they usually last 50 to 100,000 miles, somewhere around in there. And it's very common for them to fail. So it's like, okay, 2 and 2 together equals 4. That's real simple. It needs plugs and coils. We got the okay for the customer. She's excited. Yay! That's all it's going to be. I'm happy about that. It seemed like that's all it would be. There was no reason to get borescope cameras and get in this deep diagnostic mess that was going to cost so much. When we physically moved the coils, the misfire changed. Oh, well, that's it. Wrong. Once Magic Mike got one of the plugs out, the electrode was gone. It's like shaved clean off. I think those plugs have already been thrown out by now, or I would show it to you guys. We're like, that's odd. I said, well, put the new plugs in, put the coils in, let's see what happens. And it would still run really rough. And now it was just saying cylinder 1 misfire. The other ones were gone. Like, okay, so something's going on in cylinder 1. He pulled the plug back out. I said, why don't we do a compression test? Maybe there's something going on. We know that these engines like to get carboned up, even though we've been doing carbon services on this one. He did a compression test, 4, 3, 2, they're like 180 PSI, 170, 180, 190 range. Number 1 cylinder was 0 all the time, no matter what we did. So I said, okay, maybe the rings are bad. These are known to get carboned up. There's been engines replaced because the rings are bad. So the spark plug's already pulled off. We put some engine cleaner in it, like seafoam basically. We let it soak overnight, hoping it would free up the rings and bring compression back, or at least bring it up a little bit. The customer stated, if there's a way you can bring that cylinder back, I'm probably just going to trade this thing off. You guys warned me I should not keep this car much longer, but I didn't listen. And it's no fault of hers. Her reasoning makes sense. She's not going to be on this earth for another 50 or 60 years. It makes sense. Try to keep this one as long as you can. Unfortunately, that was kind of a bad call because these cars are not known to last a long time. Obviously, we had already drained the oil. Whatever seeped into the crankcase, we left the drain plug open and let it seep right back out. We put some motor oil in and let it flush whatever out of the oil pan right back out again. Filled it up with oil, kind of crossed our fingers, and we put the compression gauge on that cylinder. Not even 1 PSI, guys. 0. Dead 0. Finally, I said, get me the borescope camera. What is going on here? I want answers, and I want it now. What is going on with this engine? We got it in there. We're looking at the top of the piston. Perfectly clean. We're looking at the cylinder walls for scoring or something's damaged. Perfect. Nothing wrong. It just so happens that this borescope camera has a sideways facing camera, and I turned that one on, and boom, there it was. The valve is half gone. We checked the other cylinders and they're chipped. There's a little bit of things going on those. They were still somewhat sealing. They were still working. But that explains why there was 0 compression. There will never be any compression in that cylinder under its current state, not with half the valve gone. So I did some research. It's pretty common on these to have valve issues, valve burn, piston rings coking up, carbon getting clogged up inside the engine. Once they get to this age, they're not a very robust engine. They're very frail, and a lot of things like this can fail. I did some research and looked, maybe we can just replace the cylinder head and she'll be back on the road again. I did find full, complete cylinder heads with valves on eBay from China for $500-600. But I really value this customer, and I was like, I can't in good faith put a Chinese cylinder head on. Some reason I feel like in 3 to 6 months she'll be back again. It'll be broke again. I was like, I can't put a Chinese cylinder head on here. I can't do that. I can get one through Worldpac. It's a good quality reman one. It's got a really good 2 or 3 year warranty. It's $1,200. It cost more, but I trust that. So there's the cost of that. If we're going to pull the cylinder head off, I'm not going to put your old timing chains back on and your tensioners and guides and have them fail in 3 months. Head bolts, gaskets, the cost of the head. And the book time on this is 15 to 16 hours. And as always, when you tear apart one of these engines with 120,000 miles, you're going to find more than just what we found with cylinder 1. Oh, well, while we're here, this is broke. Wow, this looks worn out. So I calculated it could be as much as 20 hours of labor based on finding other things wrong while we're there. 15 to 20 hours of labor, the cost of the cylinder head, timing chain components, head bolts, head gaskets, injector seals, probably clean or replace the intake because it's probably got carbon all in it. It was ranging anywhere from $4,000 to $7,000. Let that sink in, guys. $4,000 to $7,000. Just the parts alone are going to be $2,000 or $3,000. So I got a guy that can do that for $3,000. No, he can't. And if he can, I wouldn't trust that guy to work on this customer's car because I value this customer. I don't want your guy touching this for $2,000. It's not happening. Now you could take this all apart and just replace the one valve, put everything, the original timing chain and back together. That's a Band-Aid fix. That's really poor quality. That's back alley, backyard mechanic work, and we don't do that here. I was like, oh my gosh, this lady just scrapped her granddaughter's car, and not even a week and a half later, we're back here again? The same customer in 2 weeks. We called the customer reluctantly and said, look, $4,000 to $7,000, even if we cut you a deal and get it down to $3,000, maybe we can work something out because we feel so bad in this situation. And her response, scrap it. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa here. Whoa, let's talk about this. I said, this is a nice car. This is a good car. I understand the Hyundai wasn't worth it. You can go buy another Hyundai for what it costs to fix that thing. But I did explain to her, whatever the valve fell off into the engine, who knows what damage it could have done. Once we get it apart, it could be more things wrong. She said, I will underline that again. Scrap it. I don't want that car anymore. It has pissed me off. She says, I've already had trouble with my granddaughter's car. And with what's going on here, she says, I don't want to see that car anymore. She says, I understand you're trying to work with me. You're trying to get the price down. Maybe we can work something out. She said, I don't want to. Please scrap that car. It's like, oh my gosh. We hung up with her, and I actually paced around the shop probably 20 times thinking, what do I do here? If I take this thing to the junkyard, they're going to give her $300 or $400. And I can't do that to her. I understood the situation with the Hyundai because it's going to cost as much or more than another Hyundai to fix that one. But this one's worth 10 or 12 grand, and if we can fix it for 4 or 5, it's worth it. But when the customer says, this is my car, my decision is, I want you to scrap it, end of discussion. What do you do? She says, I'm going to go buy a Toyota RAV4. I'm going to follow your advice. I'm done with this stuff. I'm done with the Audis. I'm done with the German cars. With whatever time I've got left in my life, it will be spent in a RAV4. There you go, guys. Buy a Toyota. So I was like, okay, I got to make this customer happy. She wants to scrap this thing, and I can't bring myself to do that. So I made a deal with her. I talked with Danielson. He's actually looking to possibly start his own YouTube channel. He's looking for some content. That may be something that he'll do. But I said, how about I give you $2,500 for your car in its condition? Because that's sure way better than $300 at the salvage yard. I said, you probably won't be able to sell it for much more than that, just selling it on Facebook Marketplace, because the engine's basically blown. It's useless now. And that's what she said. She said, that's why I want to scrap it. It's useless to me. I'm done with it. I'm over that car. I was like, well, how about I give you $2,500? I take possession of the vehicle. Danielson is going to fix it on his own time and film it on his channel if he possibly gets one going. If he does, we'll let you guys know. And then we'll just sell the car. It'll be running and driving again. How much more life is left in it? Probably quite a bit once it's fixed. We're going to put a new cylinder head on it very likely. Get it fixed correctly. Danielson will sell the car, and then he'll give me my money back, and I told Danielson he can keep the rest. That way everybody involved is happy. She doesn't lose her car for $300. She gets $2,500. I get to help her out in this situation because I feel so bad for this. It's just insane. And Danielson stands to make some pretty good money. Everybody involved comes out happy. She almost didn't want the money. She's like, this is crazy. This car is not worth that. I was like, well, it is, because I know I can get my money back. Don't worry about that. I just don't want you to leave here sending this nice Audi to the junkyard for $300. That's insane. One more crazy story is after the Hyundai went to the junkyard, she was happy with us, not that her car went to the junkyard, but she was happy that we were honest. We presented all the facts, all the options, and let her choose what she wanted to do. Obviously, she chose the junkyard. But she was so happy that we were honest with her. She brought us a really big thing of chocolates, and we've already all eaten them all by now. I was like, that sucks that her car went to the junkyard, but everybody's happy. We got some chocolates out of the deal. And then this happens. 99% of the time, I love my job. I love running this shop. I love having this YouTube channel. This is the small percentage of the time I actually hate my job. I hate that this happens to people. She does not deserve this. But there's nothing I can do. So this is a really sad deal, but I was able to turn the tide and make it a little bit better for everyone. So everyone involved feels like that they maybe not ahead in the situation, but they didn't lose as much as they stood to lose. So no, it's not going to the junkyard. I refuse to send this car to the junkyard. And keep that in mind, guys. You guys are going to comment, I know a guy that can do it cheaper. Keep in mind, she wouldn't care if the guy could do it cheaper. She does not want to put more than 500 bucks into this car. It's going to the junkyard. But it's not going to go to the junkyard, luckily. And like I just mentioned, I can't do that. So if you're curious what kind of tools that we're going to use or Danielson's going to use to get this thing fixed back up, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We have that borescope camera for sale there. It's a very handy tool. It's in the link in the description below, like I mentioned. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.